Broken, John pulled on his boots. What? Ah. Where am I at? I don't know. What the heck did it do that for? His fast broken, John pulled on his boots. He rotated boots each day to give each pair a chance to dry before wearing them again, and stepped out onto the back porch. Pulled on his slicker and slogged out to the barn. The grass wasn't dead yet. It's not. He ain't dead yet. But he figured it surely wouldn't take much longer before it simply drowned or died of some fungal disease. He thanked God that he'd bought hay in July when it was cheap rather than waiting the way some did. They were feeding it as sparingly as they could to make it last, and it would just have to do. For all he knew, the rain would go on all the way until it turned into snow. Boom, as Diamond of Oppenheimer Ranch would say. Boom. Stepping into the warm, heavy smell of the barn, he saw his dad working another pelt. At more than 3 weeks since impact, the food situation for many was getting so desperate, they were eating the dog food themselves, assuming they had even that. So now there was a growing problem of abandoned dogs turning feral and beginning to hunt in packs. He regretted not having bought land even further away from town, but it was done now and would just have to be coped with. The problem would eventually resolve itself, he figured, between people killing the dogs to eat them and others killing them to eliminate a predatory threat. Until then, they had to keep a close eye on their livestock, and they did not allow Melinda or Heather to leave the property without being properly armed. Mel's little .22 revolver would kill even the biggest dog, but it might not stop a large dog in time before it hurt her. So now, when they left sight of the house to go to a neighbor's house, they carried Lisa's little 20 gauge loaded with buckshot and slugs. Mel took it in stride, but Heather was reluctant to have anything to do with the weapon until John had made it clear that she would not be allowed to leave the yard without demonstrating competency. The thought of a 10-year-old being allowed to go out and do things when a 14-year-old had to stay home was enough to goad her past her distaste, even if he was cavalier about gun safety. Sorry. Until she'd forgotten about being careful where she pointed the gun, allowed the gun to point just once too often after John had corrected her, and he demonstrated the gravity of her offense with a spanking and some time standing in the corner after her mother declined her appeal. At the next encounter, she displayed the proper attitude to the relief of everyone. Picking up a pitchfork, John began forking out soiled bedding into the loader bucket of the tractor. They had to keep the manure pile covered to conserve nutrients due to the rain, but it would be as valuable as gold when the rain stopped someday, and they could apply it to the garden and the field. As he was doing so, he talked with his dad about the 9 pelts tacked to the barn walls, the range they were taken at, the number of shots fired, the efficacy of the particular caliber, cartridge, and bullet type. Robert had more hunting experience and interest than John, but it was his son who did their ammo reloading. It was the way to share each other's company doing something they both enjoyed. Now it was invaluable. One of the pelts had been taken by Anne, and Melinda accounted for 2 of them, with John and Robert accounting for the remaining 6 at 3 each. They'd also killed several more that hadn't been worth skinning, and thought they'd fatally shot but hadn't been able to retrieve several more. Everyone in the neighborhood heartily cursed any and all who owned large dogs that just let them go feral without having the intestinal fortitude to kill them. John's dogs, Jake, Andy, and Bad, wouldn't touch dog meat, cooked or not, but the hogs didn't care a bit, nor did the chickens. Good old chickens. John still resented the loss of 1 goat, 4 chickens, and a turkey to the predators, and the use of ammunition, but at least they were getting something in return. If it turned out as cold as he feared it might this winter, they'd all be glad of a pair of dog-skin mittens, and the black chow pelt his dad was working on would make a nice hood lining for their coats. 6 a.m. rolled around, and his dad turned on the barn radio to catch the morning news. The intro came and went. The quickie weather forecast was as usual. Rain and more rain, and then they were into the national and international news. President Bush reiterated today to the Chinese leadership that their attempts to forcibly incorporate Taiwan into the People's Republic of China would not be taken lightly by the United States, stressing that America was quite prepared to meet force with force if no other solution could be found. The American eagle has been hurt, but it will be a grievous error for the Dragon of China to forget that she still has her talons. America will not allow the people of Taiwan to be forcibly incorporated into the People's Republic of China against their will, and any further attempts by the Chinese Navy to land troops on Taiwan will result in the U.S. Navy sending it to the bottom. Robert looked up at John, who looked back at him. "Son of a bitch," he said in a voice of soft wonder. All right. Guess what? That's it. I'm sorry. I'm about ready to go to sleep right here, so I need some sleep. Good night. Hallelujah. Everything's, if not going according to our plan, it's going according to His plans. So be praying for everybody. Next one up is Sue out in California. Pray for her. She met with her attorney today, has court tomorrow. Big, horrific mess. Just pray that the Father will, that His angels will look over her and guard her and protect her. So, all right. It's Jerry Diamond. If you're listening to this, you are the remnant. Thank you.